The world's most feared prison inmates. The world is an ugly place full of creepy people. These are people who committed unspeakable crimes and killed numerous people before the law caught up with them. Prisons are notorious for being frightening places, not only for the inmates' punishment conditions, but also for the inmates themselves. Here are some of history's most dangerous prisoners. The foremost is the man with the eyeballs. Jason Barnum, aka Eyeball Man, was sentenced to 22 years in prison for shooting an Alaska police officer. According to The Independent, Barnum's crimes were motivated by a serious heroin addiction. His tattoo-covered face made him appear even more dangerous. Barnum had completely tattooed one of his eyeballs. Yes, his eyeball. The second is Jack the Ripper. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was a well-known serial killer in the Soviet Union. He was known as the Butcher of Rostov and the Red Ripper, and he raped and mutilated over 52 innocent women. According to reports, he confessed to 56 murders and was tried for 53 in 1992, making him one of the most notorious prison inmates of all time. Aileen Wuornos is third. This woman was nothing short of a monster. Between 1989 and 1990, Aileen Wuornos was involved in the cold-blooded murder of 7 men. She used to accuse the men she dated of rape and then shoot them at point-blank range. Wuornos was convicted, sentenced to death, and executed by lethal injection, according to reports. The fourth is John Wayne Gacy, a real-life Pennywise, the dancing clown. You've probably heard of the 2017 Hollywood blockbuster It, which is based on the life of John Wayne Gacy. Gacy began her career as a clown, entertaining children and raising funds for charity. He gave himself the moniker Pogo the Clown. But beneath this colorful clown mask was a ruthless criminal. Gacy was a serial rapist and torturer, and was found guilty of the murders of 33 teenage boys and young men between January 1972 and late 1978. In late 1994, he was executed by lethal injection. Rodney Alcala is number 5. Alcala, also known as the dating game killer, got a sick thrill from photographing his victims, mostly attractive young women, after murdering them and posing their bodies in distorted postures. He is said to have murdered at least 130 women. In 1980, he was arrested and sentenced to death. Dennis Rader, also known as BTK. Dennis Rader went by the moniker BTK, which stands for Bind 'em, Torture him, Kill him. He was a serial killer who was one of the most heinous in American history. He made sure to have an elaborate photography session with each victim he tortured and kept it hidden away in a secret basement. According to reports, he didn't even know how to kill when he launched his first vicious attack on the Otero family in 1974, and he literally tortured them to death. After his first murder, he went on to murder nearly 10 people. BTK was eventually convicted and sentenced for each death in 2005, and there is a chilling video in which he confesses to all of his heinous crimes. He is now being held in solitary confinement, awaiting his death. Mary Mallon is number 7. She is also known as Typhoid Mary, and she is known to have infected 51 people, 3 of whom died as a result of their illnesses. While carrying an extremely contagious bacteria that causes typhoid fever, Mary continued to work as a domestic worker and cooked for others, infecting many. Back in the hospital, treating a disease like typhoid was extremely inefficient. Mallon spent the last 23 years of her life as a virtual prisoner in forced isolation, apparently knowing about her illness before infecting hundreds. Have you heard about the Nithari murderers? Last year, serial killer Maninder Singh Pandar and his domestic help Surinder Kohli were sentenced to death in connection with one of the 16 Nithari killings cases. The Nithari killings were brought to light when 8 skeletal remains of children were discovered in the drain of a house in Nithari, Noida. There have been allegations ranging from cannibalism, pedophilia, and rape to organ trafficking. Shashikala Ramesh Patankar, baby, is the last one. Shashikala Ramesh Patankar is one such woman who discovered the easy money that came with drug dealing. She quit her job as a milkmaid and quickly merged into Mumbai's notorious drug trade. After nearly a decade of dealing drugs, she amassed property worth more than 100 crore rupees from the business. The Mumbai police finally apprehended baby Petankar in 2015.